In a world where the line between reality and fantasy fades away, where silence carries a secret, and every whisper tells a story. Welcome to The Whisper of the Narrator. Here, tales are not just told, they are lived. Souls are reborn through words of mystery and magic, where fear, passion, and destiny intertwine. Every story you hear here will awaken something within you. So listen closely. The whisper begins now. Are you ready to listen? Chapter 10. A Frog in a Well. After the conflict I had with Luan, I lost interest in continuing college that day. I wasn't satisfied with just doing that to Luan. This one-year grudge can't be washed away with just that. But I knew I would have my chance soon, and I could deduce it from the hateful face that noble vampire was making. He wasn't even trying to hide his hatred for me. And honestly, I didn't understand why he hated me so much. After all, I only hit his dog, right? Noble vampires seem to be beings with egos the size of the world. I doubt he would be enraged by just that, right? Before returning home, I purposely waited for the noble vampire in an open, dark place. I know vampires can't walk in sunlight, but if he was in college at that time, then he must have ways to walk while the sun is shining in the sky. Right? He might have some car that doesn't let sunlight in, or he might wear those clothes that cover his entire body. I waited for a few minutes, but when I realized he wasn't going to come, I lost interest. Before leaving the place where I was standing, I used my vampire vision to look around, and I didn't see any vampire souls. I only saw humans for several km. Realizing that everything was fine, I returned home. You fool! What were you thinking showing off in the middle of the entire university? Corneliu Funer yelled angrily as he hit the desk in the office he was at. Because of his supernatural strength, the desk he hit had his handprint carved into the wood. A few seconds before hitting the table, he managed to regain enough control to not destroy his table again. Corneliu was acting as a coach at this college. Despite being a coach, he didn't teach the students anything. He was only in charge of managing the basketball team. But that was just on paper. The reality was he wasn't doing anything. He was abusing his vampiric charm to stay in this school in an attempt to win the heart of Ruby, one of the 4 flowers of the vampire world. Luan, at this point, was very scared. He might act like a king in college, but he knows that in front of the vampire who gave him his gifts, he was nothing more than a slave. Luan knows that noble vampires are arrogant beings. They think the world revolves around them, and they have a planet-sized egos. But that ego is as fragile as glass. At least, that's what Luan thinks of noble vampires. After all, he's only been in contact with a single noble vampire since he became a newborn. Luan looks at his master, Corneliu Funar, Heir House Funar, a spoiled vampire who thinks he's the center of the world. Luan still remembers the day He was in a hospital bed, and a young man who looked like a fairy tale prince showed up to help him. He felt he was chosen to be that prince's knight, but the reality was much more difficult than he imagined. This prince was nothing more than a spoiled vampire. But as he helped him out of that deplorable condition, he still feels gratitude to his master. "You have nothing to say?" Corneliu yelled angrily. Luan remained silent. He knows that no matter what he says, he will suffer the punishment anyway. After suffering from it for a year, he's already used to it. Torture is something very light when you get used to it. As long as my master is not touching my family, for me, a little torture is nothing. Psst. Corneliu ignores Luan and starts biting his fingers as he starts to think this was a habit he had had since he was a child. A few minutes later, Corneliu thought of something. He looked at Luan. "I'll save your punishment for later, but first, we must kill that newborn." Corneliu changed his aim. He thought that if he killed Victor, he would be free to court Violet. Now that he knew Violet was in this town, he thought of it as an opportunity. Luan opens his eyes wide. "Why? Why should we kill him?" he stuttered. Despite being a vampire for over a year, Luan still hadn't killed a soul. He always drank his master's blood, after all. "Are you questioning me? If I say do something, you do it. Don't forget your position here." Corneliu spoke with a distorted face. "Yes, master," Luan stammered. Corneliu nodded in satisfaction. He sits down in the chair and starts to get annoyed when he thinks a newborn has stolen one of the flowers of the vampire world. Violet had always been an object of desire for all young noble vampires. A beautiful vampire with one of the rarest bloodlines in the vampire world. He couldn't accept that a humble newborn had decided to steal his most prized possession. "Just wait, you little slave. I'm going to make you dog food," Corneliu spoke in a vicious tone. February 3rd. I'll be honest. I didn't expect Violet to make a huge basement in my house. I mean, I live in a normal American house. And I also have a small basement. But what I'm seeing right now is just bullshit. My old normal basement that you can see in many American houses now looks like a cave that has lots of tunnels and rooms. What did she transform this basement into? This looks like an underground base that came out of some movie. Don't tell me she installed an artificial intelligence named Blue Queen too. A better question? How did she do it so fast? Is it okay to make a basement this size here at home? Yes, why not? Violet asked me, curious. She was wearing casual clothes this time. A simple white sweatshirt and black denim shorts. She was also wearing purple sports shoes with the symbol of a famous sports brand. I was a little surprised by the outfits she picked out. I thought she only had black-colored outfits or something, or cosplay-like outfits. Well, she looks beautiful in those clothes, and I'm not complaining. Seeing me watching her, she displays a small, satisfied smile. I mean, isn't my house going to fall down or something with a hole this size? I'm not very knowledgeable in physics, but I think if I create a hole this big under the house, won't the house fall down? I think that is how it works? Oh, don't worry about it. Violet claps her hands lightly, and soon I feel someone approaching. I use my vampire vision and see that person is a human. The characteristics of a vampire are very easy to identify, but I always use my vampiric vision to make sure. After all, some humans look like vampires when they are afflicted by some kind of illness, like the one I had. This woman was human, but she looked a little different from the normal humans I've seen. I could see her heart glowing, as if inviting me to feed on her. But the blue aura that surrounded the woman and the heart that she seemed to glow brighter than an ordinary human I saw told me she wasn't a normal human. A woman with Western features appeared. She had short black hair and golden eyes. She was wearing a casual outfit consisting of a white shirt with a beach photo stamped on her chest, simple denim shorts, and a basic pair of sandals. She looked a little short. I think it was 155 centimeters or 160 centimeters. She looked a little shorter than Kaguya. Darling, meet June, and June meet my husband Victor, Violet said as she hugged my arms possessively. Yo, she said while making a V gesture with her fingers. Then she said, Can you stop looking at me with those red eyes? I'm feeling a little threatened. She spoke with a happy smile on her face. By her excited tone of voice and expression that looked like she was having fun, I honestly didn't believe she felt threatened at all. I close my eyes for a moment, and soon my vision returns to normal. I look at her with my sapphire blue eyes and say, Sorry about that. It's a bad habit of mine, I said. Don't worry, she said while smiling. Lady Violet, I did my job, and I want my payment. You can deposit it in my account with the same amount as always. I know, $1 million, right? Violet spoke casually. I almost choked when I heard the amount of money. Just how much money does my wife have to go throwing around $1 million like it's a dollar bill? Yes, indeed, June spoke while shaking her head. She makes a few gestures with her hands, and soon the basement began to change. White ceramics began to grow on the floor, and several wooden coffins began to be created in the bedrooms. The walls began to turn a whiter color, and I could see that bricks began to be created. And like a magic trick, the basement that once looked like a cave now looks like the interior of a mansion that has been painted in a black and white theme. With my current knowledge, only one group of beings could do what this woman did. Witches. June displays a small, satisfied smile, but soon that smile changes to a happy, joyful smile. Indeed, June is a witch I hired when I arrived in the U.S. As you can see, she has more useful and unique skills. Violet spoke with an elegant smile. If you have an order that cannot be legally placed, you can ask June. She will charge dearly, but since you are my husband, she will give a discount, right? Violet spoke with an elegant smile as she looked at June, who had her smile twitching slightly. Of course, Lady Violet, June said. I looked at Violet, and I could deduce a little bit of what she was thinking. This princess was thinking how helpful it is to have a person who can literally create a structure with a hand gesture. I think she plans to keep June around. For a small moment, I almost felt sorry for June. But it was only for a moment. After all, I barely know June enough to feel any sympathy for her. And Violet seems to have a long history with this witch. Why did you create this basement? I was going to ask Violet why she created this underground basement, but when I remember all the servants she had, I fell silent. Never mind, Violet pouted. I think she wanted to explain to me in detail why she created this basement. I smile a little and start stroking her head. For a moment, I feel Violet's body tremble, like she's been shocked by electricity or something. As I stroked Violet's head, I looked at the newly constructed basement. Of course, this is all very useful, since if Violet's underlings live here, they will be quite helpful in the future. But how the fuck am I going to explain this to my parents? I've decided I'll keep it hidden from them. They can be weird and ignore my physical change. They can be weird enough and accept Violet as my wife easily. But this here? This is another level of bullshit I would have to invent to convince my parents. Suddenly remembering the plans I had to earn money while walking through college, I looked at June. "Just call me June," she said, smiling. "I need a fake ID, a fake bank account, preferably a tax haven bank account. I also need a fake SSN. Can you arrange that for me?" June looked at me confused, but soon she responded with a professional smile. "Oh, that's easy." June picks up a phone and punches in some numbers. Then she starts talking to someone. A few minutes later, she looks at me. "Which fake name do you want?" Named James Bond, James Smith. For a moment, I almost named a famous agent from the movies. I thought it would be cool, but when I started stealing in the future, it could get me into some issues. Copyrights. Believe me, copyright issues are very annoying. Stealing is much easier than solving copyright issues. She nodded. A few minutes passed again, and I could feel Violet's breathing start to get more erratic. She was looking at me with glowing red eyes. She looked like she was going to jump on me at any moment. For a moment, I looked at my hand. Do I have a god hand? Why is she reacting like this, just by me stroking her head? As I looked at my hand, as if it were Midas's right hand, June just spoke on the phone, and soon she summons 2 documents. The first document is a fake ID card that has my fake SSN on it, and the other is my bank account. I look at the bank account document, and I see the document is from a bank account in a tax-free country. The wonders of a tax haven. You are very efficient. Are all witches like this? I asked, genuinely surprised. This information is going to cost a little more. Do you really want to know? June spoke as her golden eyes sparkled a little. If this were an anime, I'm sure her eyes would turn into the $sign by now. Forget what I said, I reply. Too bad, she pouted. She's really greedy, huh? Well, at least she's honest. Violet suddenly looks at June with her blood-red eyes. Leave. She spoke as the teeth began to change into sharp teeth that could tear flesh easily. June felt a shiver run down her spine as she looked into Violet's eyes. Cough. I remembered that I had to feed my cat in Hawaii. Take care. Lord Husband, soon I will be back to collect money for my services. See ya. June makes a few gestures with her hands, and suddenly a magic circle appears on the ground, and she disappears. When June leaves, I suddenly feel an explosion of bloodlust coming from Violet. I display a small smile, and I also let my desire out. I wanted her. I wanted her blood. Let's have fun, darling. Violet spoke with a huge smile that showed all of her teeth. And so, the whisper fades. But the story never truly ends. Each tale hides within it a new beginning. Perhaps even another life waiting to be told. You've been listening to The Whisper of the Narrator. If this journey touched your soul, don't let it end here. Subscribe, stay, and listen again. For the next whisper will be deeper, darker, and more beautiful.